Today we will learn how to make this UV light shader similar to phasmophobia. This is how I solved this problem, and the solution involves duplicating the mesh to display the fingerprints. So there might be better and more efficient ways to achieve this effect. But anyways, let's start now. Here we are in a blank project. Let's create a main scene, save it, and then hop right into Blender. As every respectable Blender tutorial, delete the default cube, and then add a new UV sphere, and maybe make it smooth because it's gonna look better. Now add a new material to the sphere, and in the base color click on the yellow dot and select the image texture option. Create a new texture and we're gonna call it UV fingerprint mask, and we're gonna leave everything as it is. Now go to the texture paint tab and we can start painting some fingerprints. And this will be the mask that will react to our UV light in the engine. Let's just export this model, and I'm gonna use the GLTF because I think it's the best for Godot right now. As you can see, it will export for us also the texture that we painted on Blender, but it will have also the material that we set up for seeing what we were painting here on Blender. So we can actually delete this and re-export to remove it. And now it's gonna have no material. Now add the model to the scene and check editable children. So this will allow us to access the mesh instance of the sphere. I'm gonna create a new override material, and this is just gonna be a placeholder just to see what's happening. Let's duplicate the sphere mesh and let's rename this as a sphere UV mesh. Don't forget to reset the material override of this mesh, and also set the visual instance layer to the second one, and also rename the layer as UV lights. This is how we are gonna filter the UV lights. We're gonna put them all in one single layer, and the same layer we have the UV meshes that will run the shader and do all the stuff they have to do. Now add a new light. We can leave the call mask of the UV lights checked, and then we're gonna add the sun to the scene and uncheck the UV light layer because we don't want the sun to reflect the fingerprints. Let's go to the sphere UV mesh and let's make a new shader material. Let's create a new shader and we're gonna call it UV light reaction. First of all, let's add some uniforms. We're gonna need 3 uniforms. The first one is gonna be the sampler of the fingerprint texture, and we're gonna make it as black as default. Then we're gonna add the fingerprint color, and in the end the fingerprint color intensity. Now let's work on the vertex shader. To prevent z-fighting problems, we're gonna add a little bias to make the mesh grow along its normal vectors. Let's call this constant grow, and what we're gonna do is just sum the normal times the grow to the vertex. We just need a very small value. For the fragment shader instead, we're just gonna set the alpha to 0, and we'll see later. Don't forget to set the texture of the mask that we painted on Blender before. Now uncomment the light pass and delete the default comments, and we're gonna use the default Lambertian lighting model, which is the one that Godot uses. So let's initialize the light value as the clamped value of the dot product between light and normal vectors times the attenuation value. We're also gonna get the light color, which is gonna be the light color constant divided by pi. Then we're gonna define the diffuse contribution of this light, which is gonna be light value times light color. Now we're gonna sample the UV fingerprint mask that we made before. So let's make a new float called UV mask, and it's gonna be the sample texture of the UV mask texture at the UV coordinates, and we're just gonna take the red channel of this texture. The concept is easy. Where there are fingerprints, we want to increase the light reflected with the fingerprint color. In the diffuse light, we're gonna add this diffuse contribution times the fingerprint color times fingerprint color intensity. We still cannot see anything because we need to delete this alpha. So we're gonna make a new float, which is gonna be called transparency value, and it's gonna be UV mask times the length of the diffuse contribution of the light. And then we're gonna just add to the alpha value this transparency value. There it is. It was hiding from us. Okay. We're starting to get something. However, it's shining too much. So let's try reducing this color, this value. Let's make it 1 for now. As you can see now, if we move the light, it's gonna appear and disappear. And if we use other lights which are not in the UV light layer, they're not gonna be considered as such, and the shader is just not gonna react to them, but just to the ones in the second layer. Now we have a little problem, because as you can see, it kind of looks weird if we also add more lights. See, it's changing its color. It shouldn't do that. And the problem here is that we are assigning values to the alpha channel which are higher than 1, while the Godot engine expects a range from 0 to 1. So to fix this, we just need to clamp the alpha value between 0 and 1. And now it's gonna be normal. This is pretty much it. We just need to now change maybe the light color. And let's make the fingerprint color maybe green, and let's maybe increase the intensity of the color. And there is a very simple UV light reaction shader. As a postscriptum, I suggest you to add this small multiplication. It's gonna make the fingerprints look cleaner and smoother. Okay, this is it. Thank you for watching, and if you found this video helpful, please like, share and subscribe. And see you soon with more shaders.